You know, that reminds me of something I heard yesterday. Christine De La Rosa of the People's Dispensary mentioned this, that one of the issues with all the other social equity programs that we've seen prior that have fallen short has been that they weren't designed by people of color, that there was no diversity within their design, which is why they failed. And I think that's the next thing I really wanted to ask you about, is that social equity focus. And I wonder, I know the regulations are currently underway, but I wonder what your pulse of your reading on the pulse of the situation is in New Jersey, and if they, I guess it's sort of tying into a second question, in addition to social equity regulations, is if New Jersey took any inspiration from New York's recent passing of MRTA.
You know, that's an interesting concept, that the problems with regulation, because it lacked, I guess, investment by people of color. I think it was going to, regardless, I think it would have come with some challenges. You absolutely get your best ideas when it comes from a diverse group. In New Jersey, we were fortunate in that our legislators, when creating the legalization bills, did in fact listen to the Black caucus of our legislature. They did in fact listen to our social justice advocates. They listened to people like myself, policy makers, policy advisors of color. And so what we ended up with was a beginning. I think you can always do more. And I think that will always be a criticism of policy, that you can always do more. And so I think with a spin of optimism, I think what we started off with in terms of creating micro licenses in our legislation, where it's a lower bar to entry into the industry, between micro license, expungement, having expungement of records, especially for simple possession charges, things like that got into the bill, and that's a great start. Now the focus is, and I'll talk more about it later if you like, is how do we make sure that it's not just people who are touching the plant, but it's starting up businesses and making sure that the ancillary businesses that are owned by minorities, women, veterans, make sure that we stay in the mix, and that there's this healthy mix of policy going forward. So I hear the criticisms. Clearly, can you do more? The answer is yes, but you've got to start somewhere. And I think that New Jersey did very well as a start. And so now it's up to us to make sure that we keep some momentum, that we make sure that minorities, women, veterans don't get left behind as we move forward.
Well put. And I would like to dive further into that with you in regards to ancillary businesses. I think there's a lot of overlooked opportunity there. Most people don't quite realize how deep the ancillary needs are for cannabis, just as any other industry. And could you talk a little bit about where your head is there, is at there in terms of the ancillary side of things?
Sure. In fact, we just announced last week, and we're very proud of these conversations. We actually formed a strategic alliance with 6 social and economic justice groups in the state of New Jersey. And we formed and we announced this alliance because what we want to make sure is that whether they're contractors or subcontractors or license holders or potential license holders, that again, people of color don't get left out. So we formed a strategic alliance that includes organizations like the NAACP, the statewide Hispanic Chamber. We all came together and formed this alliance, and we are going to keep the conversations about Black businesses, minority businesses, women-owned businesses at the forefront of the legalization effort. Not legalization, but the standing up of the legalized industry. It's absolutely paramount that when you look at the economic fabric of any state, of any country, when you leave populations out, that hurts the general economy. That hurts your general economic base. So why would you forego creating opportunities? Now, that being said, what we are all about at the association is making sure that through our membership and keeping people informed that that ancillary businesses get a shot at making money. You know, it was recently reported that the cannabis industry actually created $92 billion for the United States just in last year. And this is not just growing or touching the plant. This is $92 billion because we had janitorial businesses, we had transportation or delivery services, we had construction, we had all of those ancillary businesses where $1 makes $2. Dollars stay within communities. Look, it's a multiplier. And so what we really do try to do at the association and beyond is have the conversations. Not everyone is going to get a license to touch the plant, and that's okay, but you could still be very much a part of the industry. And so we do what we can, either through our strategic alliance with the NAACP, the statewide Hispanic Chamber, the Essex County Latino Chamber, the Camden Business Association. The city of Camden, New Jersey is 96% people of color. So look, this is all about making sure that everyone has a shot, whether you own a license or you can support a license, there's opportunity.